Welcome back to another episode of Muse where we talk about anything creative. We have your host, Ezra.
And Naseem. And today we got a guest.
Morphe.
Tell us about yourself, bro.
Shit, man. It's Morphe Mixed It, at Morphe Mixed It, Moffy Mixed It. I'm an engineer, artist, and producer. I'm located in Brooklyn, the heart.
Dope. How long you been engineering for?
I've been engineering for the last 6 years now.
Okay. It's been a minute.
I got a big question. You got any music out right now that you want them to check out?
So I dropped my first song, Lost, on SoundCloud.
Okay.
But y'all should still check it out. This shit is dope. I worked on it about 2 years ago, and I just wanted something to drop.
That's fire. Shit. What made you want to drop it on SoundCloud instead of another type of streaming app?
Honestly, ease and convenience. That shit was just
This is quick,
Yeah,
post. It's so much easy to get access to it, You have to go. You don't gotta get Spotify Premium, which I don't have, so I'm not paying for shit.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But this SoundCloud, because I never really I think I was kind of out of touch of that SoundCloud wave when a lot of artists was popping off on SoundCloud, and you might be more familiar with this. How does SoundCloud provide, I guess, more of a community for an artist?
I think SoundCloud, honestly, it focuses more on independent creators because at the end of the day, it's niggas want ease of access.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's why people choose an iPhone over an Android. It's just easy and user friendly. So I feel when motherfuckers open SoundCloud and they see that upload button right there, they're like, alright, word.
Damn, it's just that easy.
Yeah,
I see. That's fire. And today the question is, and we're gonna just get right into it, is
Ooh. See, this never ever happens.
It never happens, bro.
But the question is, how do you bet on yourself as an artist?
Okay, so as far as betting on yourself as an artist, it's never gonna be that easy to do.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, you're gonna wake up one day and be proud of yourself, and the next day you're gonna be fucking assed out and not know where you're going or if you've been wasting your time and shit.
True.
It's just more about realizing alright, so realistically, I'm not gonna hold you. This is the real truth. You got to put yourself in a position where you can't do anything else. So, with me right now, I took that bet when it came to college. I was fuck college. I'm about to intern for a year at a studio, and I'm about to learn how to engineer.
Yeah.
And that's what, I forced myself after 6 years now. It's nigga, now everybody I know is in music. And
that's all you can do. You put yourself in that community environment.
Exactly. Yeah. Now that's, my only option. So, it's
I like that. I mean, so far you can do what, set your environment, basically, and make it so that that's the only thing you can do. I like that.
And with that, was it any type of fear or discomfort going into that decision to skip college and just go into just making that music happen?
Yeah, I was definitely shook. I remember on my last week of school, my art teacher, because I went to the art school with Cindy, she had told me yo, if you keep on going this way, you're gonna fuck your life up. And then I was just yo, I'm gonna fuck my life up. What the fuck? So at the time, when I was doing that shit, I was also going to art class and just literally going on GarageBand, during class, and recording with my Apple headphones. You feel me?
That's dope.
So I literally just you know what, fuck it, let me just try engineering, because I didn't even really know what it was at the time, fully. But I was doing it.
I see.
Already.
Yeah. I mean, I feel a lot of it comes down to what type of person you are. I know, some people who can manage to focus on their goals and still got other things going on. I know people that need to be in that situation where that's all they can do. Because, coming from me, I have a lot of interest. And it's so easy to be, especially if it's so accessible to try other things. But if you're in that, I do agree, making your environment and the people that you meet be involved in that field as well. Right now, I'm working as a mural assistant, for instance, and it's I got myself in a situation where it's hard to turn that experience down, because I want to learn, I want to grow more in that I guess community. So I think that's a big takeaway. I like that you said.
That's interesting. I think it's interesting how you both said starting when it comes to being an artist, starting where you're at and making the most out of it.
Yeah.
And how somebody can say, your teacher can say, oh, you don't become a failure. It's in my opinion, what does, if you I know you go to art school and I know you didn't, how does that really change and affect you as an artist? You know, if you did make that decision, how much different would life be? Could you ever measure that?
So like in engineering, as far as like engineering goes, most of the schools are like trash. So like all the people that I know who went to school are now 24 and they're interns like under me. So it's like it's like kind of crazy. Like you know what I mean?
So it's like betting on you honestly turned out being the best thing to do.
Yeah,
because it's like, you know, we say like, I know when Ezra was thinking about going to school, we talking about the importance of art school. I think Ezra has a very, you can speak on it if you have like an interesting perspective of like what art school, how it provides. Because I never went.
I feel like a couple times I mentioned, I feel like art school is really pointless. If you know what you want to do and know exactly where you want to be, I feel like it's pointless. My situation of going to art school had to do with a mix of family stuff, a mix of me wanting to figure out more what I wanted to do, a mix of me wanting to learn. Because essentially, like, the type of artist I wanted to be, and I felt like I was doing a bad mistake going to actual art school, but then now I kind of do, like, I like the choice that I made because I met a lot of creatives. I found out a bunch of ways you can survive in the industry, but also, not survive, but different ways you can grow, and different techniques that I applied to myself. Like, before this, I'd never oil painted before.
Yeah.
And I know after that, I still don't oil paint, but it was something that I learned from.
And it pushed you. And I think it's interesting, a lot of people who, I guess, go to school and they, like, don't have that clear understanding of why they're going. They say the same thing. You know, I'm happy I went because I got to meet these people. Yeah. And it makes me, and I'm not trying to say going to school can never be a bad thing. You feel me? Being in that creative environment, being exposed and all those things can also be very positive. But like you jump starting and just betting on you and just doing the things that you're doing within art, you can see how it paid off because other people who had that whole thing, they still met people and all that stuff. You're meeting those same people by betting on you as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's cool.
I mean, that's like also like what you said, like, you kind of made it so that all you can do is that, and that also comes back to like, I mean, literally the podcast before this, we're talking about how, for some people you have to actually just let go of everything and put yourself in that dire situation where it's like you need this to live. And I know there's some people that feel like, okay, you can balance out your life, you can do different things. And there's a time where I'm still like this to a certain extent where I was like, oh, all I want to do is this, all I'm gonna do is this. Nasty was like, yo, you should, like, you know, enjoy life a little bit more. I was like, all I want to do is this. It's like I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to do nothing but draw. And I feel like it paid off. And it's about knowing when's the time to strap down hard, when's the time to get inspired, when's the time to make connections. It's really about gauging yourself and knowing yourself thoroughly to figure out when's the best time to hit those points in your creative career.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The one thing I will say though, because like I feel like we low-key like bashing college now. The one thing that I feel like college does is it allows you to like live for another 4 years, which is like lit. So like from not going to college and then just working in that time, I lost like a lot of childhood. Like, you feel me? Like that shit is just like memories that like you gonna have or you not. And a lot of the people who are like high ups now have had that experience. So it's like a relatability thing too. It's like, yo, like,
I mean, everyone's like experience is different. Like I like to say like, just like I was saying, like you can pull from many other people's careers on the best way to do your own career, but at the same time it's like everyone has a different experience and you have not experienced your life in its full yet.
Yeah.
So it's like your experience is gonna be different from someone else's. And you're probably like you're gonna be maybe 4 years old and be like, you know what, I did everything perfect. I feel like I did everything great because now I get to experience this, I get to meet this, I get to do this, and I enjoy this. So I feel like, you know, it really comes down. And I mean that's just like my opinion, but I definitely do agree, like viewing yourself as a separate person and your own experience, I feel like helps out a lot.
For sure. You know, it's just about also your perspective, you know, what you prioritize. You prioritize starting your career, and I don't think it was to like get ahead of anybody. I don't think that was your goal. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but it was really because you had the tools and you believed you had the ability to create the things that you wanted to create.
It's hard
it's
not
a little
to
bit
compete,
of both.
though.
I'm not gonna lie,
it's hard not
a little
to
bit
compete.
of
the competition is like low key what drove me because like all my friends I saw them go in college and I'm like, yo, like I'm not gonna be the nigga that's assed out. And then also real shit, what really drove me is the fact that like around me, I saw a bunch of niggas not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
fucking getting older and older and like still in the same situation. And I'm just like, nah, that definitely can't be me. Like, I'm smarter than that.
It's like, yeah, because it's like, I know like times where it's like I see people out doing things. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go draw because 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, whatever, however long. It's like I'm gonna make sure I put my time into that craft so that I can enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
And that's like a part of it. So it's like I feel like in any creative world, it's hard not to compete, even though, like I said, always be better than yourself. That's your main competition, is being better than you were yesterday. Of course, not like kill yourself over it, but it's hard to avoid what people are going around you, because that's like I said, like art influences like the generation you are. Like you see what's around you and you get better off of what's around you. Especially if you want to be great.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think I ever really, definitely when you said seeing people not do shit, because, you know, we graduated in 2019. A lot of people we went to school with already graduated this year. You know, and like, I'm very happy for those people. I'm proud of those people. I'm happy that they're doing the things that they find fulfillment, and I hope that they have a beautiful career after college. But definitely those people who haven't been doing anything, you don't want to be that person who just not doing anything, just being stagnant. And I mean, but the thing is, you're not going to just jump into anything. You know, some people jump into the military to get that step ahead of people. You guys are focusing on prioritizing what you love. So it's just like, it's the biggest, like y'all said, the biggest competitor is yourself, because you're not worried about making that money. You can't be a materialistic person. You gotta be more like I want to say, artistic person. That's what you like.
Yeah, because I feel like I said, like against like bashing college, it's funny because it's very interesting that for you to really utilize college to the best of its ability, to know what you want to do, and for you to be successful out of college, you gotta know what you want to do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like, in both cases, to get there, it's like, obviously you gotta know what you want to do. But I feel like, for me, a thing that helped me also benefit is staying open minded slightly. So I think that's what makes a difference between using college as a tool, is by going there like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna keep an open mind for things that interest me. Versus not being in school, it's like you have that set goal. It's great to just focus like laser hard on that goal until you can achieve it, and then you can like sit back and look at, all right, what is it? Just like when you step back from an art piece, you take the scope and say, okay, what's going on here? Is this great? Is this working? Okay, this is what I need to do to adjust my game, to adjust my equation.
That's interesting. So how do you get good at what you do?
So at first it's gonna be a lot of repetition. Like, the repetition is gonna be key if you want to like be good at making your music sound good in general. That's like really what engineering is at the end of the day. That's like the repetition of good practice is what's gonna make you good at anything. Because it's like, if you practice something a million times and it's bad the way you're doing it, then you're just gonna be bad forever. That's how the shit goes. But that, and then reminding yourself of those steps again and again and again. Because it's like, after a while you get good, and then you kind of like, it's not like you get lazy, but it's more just like, you're kind of stuck at a certain point. Like, whenever you get better at something, it doesn't matter what it is, you kind of like hit like a little threshold,
like a little plateau where you're just like, damn, and now you gotta kind of like switch up how you're doing it,
exactly,
or even enhance it. I know exactly what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but like, you're self-taught, correct?
Not completely, actually. So like, when I started engineering, I interned at a studio called S5 Studios. Yeah. And that's where I'm engineering full time now. But the owner there, Sonny, taught me like everything I know.
Yeah. Okay. And you think there's a lot of opportunities for, let's say, young engineers to have those internship opportunities?
Not really. I'm not gonna lie. Cause like, so even when I first got into the game, I went to another studio called Redbird Studios, and that was a studio that was like, at the time, quote unquote, better, because it was in Manhattan. Yeah. And it like had more. But the owner there was a dick, and he didn't teach me shit. Yeah. Like, this nigga literally had me sitting there. I don't know if you know, like, a rack space is basically like the size of like that shit, the shelf. Yeah. And like, you put fucking hardware inside of it.
Yeah.
And he just had me like literally screwing together boxes to put hardware inside of it, and didn't teach me anything.
So he's just using you.
Yeah, he's basically just using me for shit.
You get that a lot in like tattoo apprenticeships where they just make you clean the whole time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's
the cleaning. So like, realistically, the reason why for engineering I could see a motherfucker doing the Misty Miyagi approach, is because like, you gotta be able to practice good habits. Like you gotta be able to like make your bed every day type shit. Like that type of mentality.
But it's like a certain point where it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Nah, I see what you're really doing. So it's just like, yeah.
But
I mean,
with white niggas, like when white. Yeah, to give it a buck, bro, when it comes to white niggas, that's where you like, I gotta draw the line. Because they will turn you into a slave. Like, so quick.
That's funny.
You gotta find good people. You just gotta find good people type shit.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, I think that does go back to like, so it's interesting. What I'm getting from this is kind of like, put yourself in the best learning experience for you. Yeah. So it's like, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's YouTube University, whether it's college, whether it's an apprenticeship or an internship, whatever it is, it's like, whatever you feel like will work for you, whatever focus that works for you, put yourself in that learning situation.
Yeah. I get that. And I mean, like, spanning off of like what y'all both just said is like, everybody situation is going to be different. Because I guess you just saying you was like able to bet on yourself even more because you was put in a very unique situation that not a lot of people get.
That's a fact.
You know, and that's very interesting because, you know, Ezra to have his internship opportunities and for me to have my photography internship opportunities, not everybody has that same access and liberty to just say, oh, bro, I got these connections. Now watch me what I'm going to do with it. Because it comes at different times. And at the end of the day, you know, life is very organic. It can be random, and you just gotta wait for God to bless you, whatever is for you.
But I mean, character is a big part because, like I said, like I mean, a big time in the art world. If you want to get big time in the art world, is really about who you know. Like that's it. It's really about who you know.
That's with all life. Who you know.
It's who you know. And the thing about it though is like, that's why I prioritize building good character because when you have good character, it makes people more interested in you. They want to be around you more. They want to see what you're gonna do. They want to see what you can bring to their table. And what they can bring to your table to even get to the point where they have like credits, like, oh yeah, I put that guy on. Thanks. So I feel like I feel like character is very important for yourself to get further that way. And it's like, so I definitely that's a big
fact.
Plus.
That's a fact for sure. I mean, shit, when it comes to like music in general, so like half the jobs that I get now is like solely off the fact that I did a good job prior.
Yeah.
So, like, that's really all it is. Like, when it comes to character, all character, quote unquote, is like, you did what you were supposed to do.
Well, then I have a question then. How does that industry view a more humble nature or like a very cocky nature? Like, how do they view that? Or do they not care as long as it's good work?
Yeah, they don't. Like, the thing about music is niggas don't give a fuck about anything. As long as you're good at what you do, they don't care. Like, they will either treat you like shit and like shit on you, or they will like suck your dick. Like that shit is like so wishy-washy with niggas, and like niggas will fuck with you one day and then like you fuck up one time, it's clip.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like that's how it is. And then they might fuck with you again and then be on your dick and then find some other nigga that does one thing differently and they'll be like, you know, nah, it's not even that. It's just like when you're spending money on something, especially because like the thing is what I do, it's artists spending money to make their art better.
Exactly.
Like, that's what it is. So, like, you're not going to spend your money on something that, like, you don't think is working.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, you're not going to do that. Or if you feel like you could spend the same amount of money and get something better, you're going to do that shit. So, like, it makes sense. You just got to be able to fulfill that nigga's needs.
I remember what I did. So, I did that album cover for Catnap. And, when I did that, like, people were, like, ultimately, I don't want to do album covers. Like, album covers is not really an interest of mine, but ultimately, it's like, if I like someone's music, or I think someone's cool, like, I'm going to do some art for them, especially if they're into my work. I'm like, okay, let me do some art for you, because I fuck with the vibes. But then, it's like, then it came down to a situation where it's like, okay, more people want album covers, now they're viewing it, and I don't really like your art, I feel like, okay, you draw pretty well, your art's dope, but we're gonna get what we can get with the budget we have, and it's more of a business thing where it's just like which I understand. If you want to get into a world where you're creating for a certain industry, like I get like taking low amounts of payment, to create a bunch of work, to create a portfolio of stuff makes sense. But it's about like also having your own values about where your interests lie and where your passion lies. Yeah. So the music industry is very interesting because it's very like, I feel like it's very cutthroat.
Yeah.
For a fact.
Is it hard to build real relationships in the music industry?
Yeah, it is dumb hard because it's like, well, from an engineer's perspective, it's a little bit harder. I feel like artists deal with this too. But like, say for example, like if I meet somebody through the studio, like it's like a rule of thumb, like you can't. It's like a workplace relationship. I'm not explaining it any better than that. Like HR would get mad at you. Let's just
like
say
you don't even try to become friends.
Like you can be a good person to them and you can have a good relationship, but like friends is different because like when it comes to friends, a friend is a motherfucker. Like when I think of a friend, it's like, yo, bro, I'm about to be at your funeral and I'm gonna make sure like your mom's good after you die.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like when you working with an artist, it can like motherfuckers will do shit like that and like kind of, I don't want to say like use you for whatever you have, but like that does happen a lot, but it's more or less just like,
I see.
It's a job at the end of the day. It's a job, nigga. Like you can't fucking, if you're all right. Better yet, matter of fact, if you and a coworker are really cool, but then they get fired, like nigga, you gonna leave your job too?
I feel what you're saying. I
get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Oh, just to answer, no. But I don't know if you're asking me as a rhetorical.
No, it was a little bit rhetorical, but you see what I'm saying. You see my point.
I get what you mean. So I mean, this is a question that came to mind. I mean, we're talking about how do you bet on yourself as an artist, and I think a lot of that comes with, like Ezra said, understanding of where you want to be as an artist and how can you get there. But how would both you guys want to bet on yourself even more? What's like a goal of y'all's that you can have a little bit of a lack of faith towards, but you know I want to bet on myself and make sure this comes to fruition.
Word. Yo, real shit. I'm going to say this on camera. I'm betting on myself in 12 months I'm buying a crib.
I love that, bro. That's going to happen, brother. That's going to happen for real.
I need it to happen, bro. Like, when I tell you I've been thinking about this shit for the past year, and, like, that's just been my goal. Like, that's just my goal right now. Like, because I think it would just... I started off in this shit fucking... So, I was living at a studio that somebody had turned into an Airbnb/studio, Go for the Kill Studios, right? And I saw the business model they had, and there's like a different use for every studio. So some studios are for like recording real music. You want to get the best quality sound. Yeah. Some studios are for, I want to get the most songs done for the cheapest amount of money. Some studios are like, yo, I want to come and I want to have a vibe. So that studio was, I want to come and I want to vibe and party and get lit. And that, like, if you own a crib like that, like if you own a brownstone in Brooklyn and do something like that, it's like unlimited money. Like that shit is like ridiculous.
And that's what you want to have within your crib.
Yeah, I wanna own a crib where I could do something like that. I wouldn't do exactly what they did because like there is like certain shit that goes along with it because of where we are in New York. Yeah. But fucking something like that would be dope.
That's fire. That's fire. How about you?
I'm on an NDA, so. Sorry, no.
NDAs. No disclosure. I don't know what that is. Sorry, no. What that means.
I'm not saying yeah, it is. But basically, I mean, ultimately, I'm kind of like same vibes. I really want to get a space because I mean, there's like stuff with Muse Hall that we're gonna do that we haven't really told much people about, but you know how it works. But there's stuff with Muse Hall that we're trying to do. There's stuff with my personal work I'm trying to do, and I'm also trying to get to the point where I am not like relying on some like art industry or whatever to pull me forward that I can make it as a self-reliant artist. So those are like two things. It's like really getting a space and really making the work I want to make on my own terms.
That's fire. That's fire. If I had to answer that question, mine would be simply worded is I just want to acquire debt as an artist. And I mean make it make sense, but I want to acquire good debt. You feel me? Because you can't make money. You can make money, but like all I'm trying to say is you need to learn. To make big money, we gotta learn how to spend other people's money to make money. Yeah. So I want to acquire good debt, like for Muse, all business debt, personal debt that I can really build, and create a space, like you said, and a way to create everything I want to work with and know the business side of it. So definitely having a good business side of it, having good business, healthy business debt that's working in my favor would be very dope. And I think that's a bet, because pulling a loan out for anything is always a gamble, but I'm a betting man.
Real shit.
Feel you. Does that just mean all artists are just gamblers or just addicted?
Nah, type shit. I mean, when it comes to like art in general, like for a song to be big, right? A motherfucker has to say, "Hey, Ice Spice, I fuck with you, but I think that your hair should be red and curly." And they have to say, "Okay, I'm gonna pay $45 for you to go and get your hair done, and then we're gonna do this video, and I'm gonna put it out. But when the video comes out, I take the 300,000." So like, you gotta take that bet though, like, because you could have lost out on that 45. Sure, he could have fucking looked crazy in the video, but you had the bet that she want to look good in this motherfucking red hair.
You want much?
Shit for her.
For sure, for sure.
Bro, he said on here. Look, he said on here too. I said it on here too. No, I didn't say it on here.
You are a much now. Hey, it's out there.
No,
I said that shit, but
I ain't say that shit.
You thought it.
Look,
I feel you though. That's dope. I mean, so I think we wrapping up, but before we get out of there, I just really wanted to talk about some more. So like in the music industry, of course, the label's betting on the artist, right? And I want to ask how you feel about this. The label's betting on the artist by giving them all this promotion, but do you think that the artist is technically betting on themselves because they're signing a lot of their self away for a substantial amount of money, but you already know the label's getting 10 times that. What do you think? Being an independent versus being an independent artist and a signed artist.
Oh, it depends on
who's the bigger gamble.
It depends. Oh, who's the bigger gamble?
And look, you can go with what you're gonna say, and you can answer that too. Say both, whatever you're gonna say.
So I thought you were gonna say, what should a person like want to do?
Yeah.
So like, as far as like what you should want to do, it really depends on your situation. Because like, say for example, me right now, knowing myself, nigga. At the end of the day, anything a label gives me is gonna probably, say if a label gives me $100,000, that's more than I make a year right now. So why the fuck, if the contract is for a year, why the fuck would I not take that deal? That's like stupid. It's like, bro, what? Like, because at the end of the day, if you take that loss at 21, you'll be all right. Like, I don't care how much you lose by, you'll be okay, realistically. Like, don't fucking not read the contract, but nigga, like, you feel me? You'll be okay. But as far as like an independent artist goes, you have to not only like make that bread that you were gonna get from the label to be able to have that same effect, and then also you're definitely losing that bread. Yeah. Because like, nigga, you're gonna spend it. It's just now like, all right, I'm betting on it. I'm gonna get my own money back.
So it's like you're going through like more steps, and you're kind of like, I mean, I always viewed it as like you're kind of diversitizing your attention. It's like for instance, the same thing as an artist. If you work for like a designer or an illustrator for a company, it's like a lot of work is dealt with that you don't have to deal with, and you could just focus on the stuff, on the art. But maybe you're not getting as much as you could be, or maybe you are, but you also got plus whatever it is. Or when you're an artist, you're kind of like what did JC? I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Sure, right.
He's saying he's a business. So it's like ultimately that's what you have to do. Is like you have to be your whole business. You have to cover all the elements. You're giving yourself more work in a sense for a different type of payoff. So it's really about like what you feel is to you. But you can answer the second part.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. And I think now us saying that though, it makes it clear. So like the bigger gamble for a nigga like me or anyone who's really just like starting out is putting down that $100,000 yourself, no question. Because it's like, nigga, that's your $100,000. You just worked however long you worked and whatever you did to get that. And if you lose that, that's on you.
So the independent artist is the bigger gamble in your opinion?
Yeah. On like a regular nigga situation.
I feel you, but then it's like a lot of artists.
If you like that, you like that,
like if you fucking Dave East right now, say for example, fucking Dave East makes whatever he makes off of his music, and then he's like, yo, you know what? If my contract ends this year, I'm gonna start my own label and fucking do this shit myself. Yeah. He can do that because he just has that money to play with if he is making, you see what I'm saying? For sure.
But I think it's also a way to have organic growth, like as an independent artist. Like, okay, and it depends on how big you want to be. If you say, okay, I want to perform, I want to be a local artist, so that everybody knows me around here, I perform here, I perform here, I perform here. These are my shows. These people listen to me. I still work a regular job, but this is who I am as an artist. But when it comes to being like you saying, like maybe like somebody like the biggest, and some people say he's not even really independent, but like a Chance the Rapper. like a Chance the Rapper type, that is a lot more investing to have that exposure.
Yeah.
You know, but social media is out now, and it's like I just said,
That's
how
a
much
fact,
work
too,
do you
though.
want to do yourself?
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, I feel like there's a difference between, like, one is more a situation where you keep be one of those guys where it's just, like, things just work out in your favor. The social media works well how it wants. The music you want, people vibe with it how it wants, and things just rock out with, like, you know, minor hiccups in the road, like every road. But, or it could be a situation where it's just, like, you get someone to project you that way, and you have to deal with, like, other type of problems. So it's, like, really about, like, what your problems is, and it's, like, kind of like one is more equation, while one is more like, what's the opposite of an equation? Like a English. One's math class, one's English class. It's like, you know, it depends on how what type of trust you have in, because, like, what type of trust you have in yourself, what type of trust you have in other people, how much do you know? Because just because you are getting contracts doesn't mean you don't have to know business, because you still got to make sure you're not getting played, make sure things are working out well. So it's like, regardless, you have to learn the skills, but it's like different gambles you're taking and different problems. You know, so what problems do you want?
Honestly, as an artist, bro, if I had the opportunity, bro, to get signed, I would get signed for way less money.
Yeah.
I would get signed for way less money if I can just have a percentage of whatever I was making.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the thing, because you can have one song, it can blow up, it can be a classic, but that John's getting sampled and all that stuff, you're good forever. Yeah. You know, you look at these Nike contracts, and like so many athletes that gave up a percentage of Nike just to have the more money. Like, bro, they would be so much more richer if they did it the opposite way.
Well, that's not necessarily true, though, because you got to realize. Say, for example, say if you today, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing what you know now about whatever fucking Apple was making tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Like, say if they dropped a new phone and they were like, yo, like, you got this much percentage because you know the same amount of knowledge you already know now about Apple. Mm-hmm. Nigga, I'm selling that shit. Because realistically, I'm not benefiting Apple in any way, shape, or form. Like, the fuck do I know about making phones, nigga? Like,
I see. So it's about like the knowledge you have behind everything.
It's about knowing yourself. It's like, yo, bro, and realistically, with the $1.8 million that they would have gave you to give your shares up,
yeah,
you could have made a business on what you actually know about from that.
I see.
And then made more money that way. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, bro, you gotta just know yourself. You gotta be self-aware type shit.
True, but then Apple can drop something that changed life forever, and now that those shares is worth $3 billion because they just became just a way bigger company.
Nah, facts. That's
like I said, now, like,
you gotta look at your music
music
like a stock though, because music is a stock. You know, like people willing to do this for that stock. They might want to put it in a movie. They might want to put it in a commercial. You know, it's a stock. In some way, shape, or form, like that's an asset now.
Like,
but if it's an asset that's failing, it would have been way better. And that's why y'all bet on yourself or not, you know. But I definitely like what you said, because let's say I didn't know everything about anything, I can just sign for so much more. Now the record label's gonna want more out of me, but I can sign for more.
That's not necessarily true, actually.
Okay.
So like, if you don't know more, that doesn't mean they're gonna like rape you. That's not what that means. Okay. If you have less to offer. Meaning, like, you have less views, if you don't have a consistent fan base, then, nigga, they gonna rape you. Like, then they're like, yo, nigga, we're built. Because that's the thing. Yeah. A label is not gonna, like, they're making contracts at the end of the day. Yes, they might try to throw in some shit that'll fuck you. But for the most part, they're trying to build, like, they're doing business. They're like, all right, we see this nigga, we see what he needs, and we see how much money we need to put into this to make sure he gets us the money we want.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. So they're not going to make any deal that doesn't make remote sense to them.
Okay.
But it's like, yo, if you already have a fan base, then that's an even easier way to make that money back.
That's why I kind of feel like I remember we talked about this earlier. Me and Nasim talked about this earlier. When we're talking about, like, now a lot of rappers nowadays, I mean, in my opinion, there's a good amount that are just trash, but they're just popular. And, it was, I think Nicki Minaj was saying this, where she was saying, like, back in the day when she was younger, she would go in there and she would just hear talent. Like, people was just going crazy, you know? And, of course, rap culture was bigger, and you go to events, you go to, you know, to see, like, who's spitting the new bars, who's the next coming, like, lyricist, whatever, MC, whatever it is. Nowadays, it's just like, okay, who's popular, and this person image can go, this person's popular already, and their music's alright, but we make it repetitive, we make it catchy, they end.
They want celebrities.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, they want celebrities, but they also just want, like, icons for people to just be followers.
Yeah.
Like they could care less about what the person's actual like character is, as long as they can make that buck off of them.
Yeah, for a fact.
So it's like
but celebrities really are just a walking billboard. They're just a walking advertisement for whatever.
Yeah,
that's bars. That's the fact.
Yeah, so we hope that you found your muse. We hope that you find your muse with this episode of The Muse. And we have Nassim,
Muffy,
and Ezra.
Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, everything. We love you guys. Find your muse, and we're out.